Good morning and welcome to Day 2 of the MENA ICT Forum 2024. Let's begin on reflecting on yesterday's incredible first day. From inspiring sessions and deep conversations to the amazing gala dinner and cultural event, a true celebration of innovation and connection. We tackled some fantastic topics: telecom innovations, cybersecurity, youth, digital skills, and smart city solutions, laying a strong foundation for an exciting journey. Today, we are building on the momentum and we have a lineup of exciting sessions on public sector digital transformation, healthcare innovation, empowering women tech, and fostering regional collaboration. And of course, we'll wrap up the day with the much anticipated startup competition results and the prestigious MENA ICT Awards. Coming up, our very first panel for this day, Cyber Challenges in the Digital Age, Safeguarding MENA's Future, moderated by Ms. Ruba Darwish, Country Manager of BNB, and our esteemed speakers, His Excellency Engineer Bassam Maharmeh, President of the National Cybersecurity Center, Engineer Hafez, CEO of Engineer Mr. Amjad Hafez, CEO of NourNet, Mr. Rashed Al-Momani, GM of Kaspersky, and Mr. Rabi Barakat, founder and senior security architect of Cystack. Welcome.
أنا بغلب.
ارجع لورا.
صباح الخير. Good morning everyone. بعد الناس بتصور هلا مصحصحين يعني. خلصين من البريكفاست. I'll give it 1 minute بس عم بشوف لأنه كتير ناس عم بدخلوا before we start بعد إذنكم. Just a few questions قبل ما نبدأ. Who believes cybersecurity is a number one priority اليوم؟ هيك يرفع ايده. Okay, good. مين بيحط بالبادجت تبعته أعلى بادجت للسايبر سيكيورتي؟
ولا.
Just to know. So let's kickstart the session. Welcome everyone. I'm privileged to be part of this esteemed panel. And I would like to start by having our panelists introduce themselves, their experience in cybersecurity and what they're doing today. So I will start with Amjad. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amjad A. I'm the CEO of NourNet. I'm a founder and a CEO. I've been there for the last 24 years. I'm an IT guy since dark ages. And you know, I mean, technology is like an evolving story. So we started with IT, we started infrastructure, and then when things started getting complicated, we rode on the wave of cybersecurity to try to offer our customers an end-to-end security solutions. So now we have a full suite of services basically targeting the B2B platform of businesses in the region, Gulf, and in the region addressing the security risks at different levels.
And I thought you were going to say dark web. I was a bit worried.
No, dark web.
Rabia, go ahead, please.
اهلا وسهلا جميعا. انا اسمي ربيع بركات. انا الفاوندر وسينيور سكيورتي اركيتكت في Cystack. اتس ا Palestinian company. انا بديت زي معظم الناس as a hobby in cybersecurity for reading hacking books and stuff like that back in 1997, 98. Then I started looking into it in more profession, computer engineering, and I did my master's in information security back in 2004. Went back to Palestine. In 2010, I started my own company called Cystack, and we started doing pretty much like most companies, consultancy in cybersecurity. Then we moved into integration and reselling, of course, across so many different aspects of cybersecurity. We built a very amazing team within the company, and then about 5 years back, we were looking into the market and noticed that most organizations within a few years, it's going to need some sort of cybersecurity rating platform. So we started developing our own tech, and now we have a very amazing solution pushed into the market and in the region called Cymetrics, which does cybersecurity rating. So my experiences goes across so many different areas of cybersecurity, and this is it.
Bassam.
Sabah al-Khair, good morning everybody. My name is Bassam Maharmeh and I'm the head of the National Cybersecurity Center. Before that I was consultant in several GCC countries, and before that I was in the army, in the Jordan Armed Forces. I worked as a CISO. I was also the director of the National Cybersecurity Program from 2015 to 2018. Currently, I'm the head of NCSC. NCSC is the focal point for cybersecurity here in Jordan. Basically, we are the cybersecurity regulator in the country. We develop regulations, policies, standards, and we monitor compliance. I'm very happy to be here. Looking forward for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Rashed.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rashed Al-Momani, General Manager for Kaspersky in the Middle East and North Africa. Been with Kaspersky for 10 years, with almost 20 years in the cybersecurity field. Excited to be here and looking forward for this discussion.
Thank you. So we wanted to tap a little bit in a different way on cybersecurity, and having such amazing expertise with us will help us understand better what cybersecurity is all about. So for every country, organization, and individual, the cybersecurity journey is different. Our perception and understanding of cybersecurity evolves and changes every day based on what we're witnessing in terms of technology acceleration. As that happens, we also witness the impact of AI on cybersecurity, whether used in a positive or in a dark way, if I may call it. And it differs also across different industries. So it's not one common understanding of cybersecurity. So my question is, how do we adapt and thrive in a world filled with such challenges? And what do we understand, and how do we make out of it, or what do we do? So my first question is, and this is the same question to all panelists, and I'd like to get more info about cybersecurity is defined in a different manner on a global, national, organization, and individual scale. How would you define it? Would love to hear your personal experience and your own definition of cybersecurity. And if I may, I'll start with Bassam, please.
Thank you, Ruba. In fact, my journey in cybersecurity started in 2003. I'm old, I'm old guy, so.
Old in experience.
So yeah, actually, yes, started in 2003 when I went to the United States to get my master's degree in telecommunication engineering. But when I went there, actually, and to the school that I got my degree, I was impressed with the level of interest in cybersecurity at that time. It wasn't cybersecurity at that time as a terminology. Most people were talking about information security, information assurance. So I was attracted, in fact, to information security, information assurance, and later to cybersecurity. And I switched my study actually to information security. And if you remember at that time, it was the dot-com bubble. And a lot of companies were starting their businesses in cybersecurity at that time. When I came back to Jordan, I said, to myself that we need to start something here in Jordan related to cybersecurity. So I started within the Jordan Armed Forces to develop the first cybersecurity strategy and to build some capabilities for the JAF. And we were successful actually to build the first CERT team. And this is maybe a surprise fact for somebody, but the first CERT team here in Jordan started in the Jordan Armed Forces, and it's still running. Things then moved. We started the national program, the National Cybersecurity Program. Then we came up with the cybersecurity law in 2019. Then we started NCSC, and the wheel started here in Jordan. So it was a very interesting journey. And if you look back maybe 10 years ago, compare it to where we are now, I believe we have done so many good things. Jordan ranking now in GCI is in tier 1, which is considered as a role modeling actually for other countries. Hopefully this journey will be, we'll continue this journey as we started it with all the cooperation, with all the partnerships between public and private sectors. And without the help of the private sector, actually, we couldn't be in this situation. So this is my story with cybersecurity. Hopefully it is somebody very impressive. Thank you.
Amjad, also if you can define what cybersecurity is to you.
Yeah, for me, as I told you, first, on a personal level, I've seen cases where people, for example, there were cases where they lost money because of cybersecurity. It's fraud. One of my neighbors, lost $5,000 because his cousin asked him over WhatsApp to pay some amount for him, where his account was hacked at that time, and he lost his money. I remember my personal identity was stolen. Someone used my picture from the LinkedIn and put it on a mobile number and sent to my employees that you need to pay this $5,000 because I'm busy now and I need you to buy me certain things. So there are certain things that are happening on a personal level. We could really touch our lives. I've seen from my angle in a B2B platform, many businesses suffering ransomwares where they had all their data encrypted and the company was handicapped for maybe more than a month, and someone is asking them to pay them money in Bitcoins or they will never decrypt their data. I've seen cases where there was a persistent advanced threat happening on certain banks. Every day they're receiving malicious actions and big DDoS attacks trying to stop their businesses and bring their websites down. I've seen cases where supply chain threats were there in the picture, and where, for example, like the case of Kaspersky and SolarWinds, where this big attack happened and compromised a lot of data for those companies subscribing to it. I have seen cases where, it's more of an espionage. Everyone is trying really to steer data and take it from certain government entities. So cybersecurity, with internet expanding everywhere, touching every angle of each human being, there is always a threat of cybersecurity that we need to be aware of. And I think it's like an evolving story, and it's getting more complicated years over years. So, even if you look at the cybercrime now, we're talking about by 2025, it's going to be the losses due to cybercrime is like $10.5 trillion. If you compare that to the gold market capitalization, which is $17 trillion, so we are talking about all the gold reserves in the world versus cybercrime. This is how big the problem is.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Rashed.
Yeah, so to me, cybersecurity is about securing our digital ecosystem, whether it is global, national, organizational, or at individual levels. And it's not a technical concept. I believe it is shared responsibilities. I have had the privilege working across the Middle East with many businesses, helping them to secure their businesses, to mitigate threats, all the way to collaborating with the governments to secure their critical infrastructure, and in some cases on a national level. Also, today, collaborating between the private and government sectors, and even between countries, not an option anymore. We have to join forces in order to fight against cyber criminals, in order to have a safer world, which is our mission in Kaspersky. Events like MENA ICT are essential for further discussions and sharing knowledge in order to be prepared for the future.
Thank you. So, Rabi, what would you like to add to that?
Well, everybody's adopting technology across left and right in everything, in businesses, government, with digital transformation and with adopting AI across pretty much every aspect of life today. We have cybersecurity and information security interchangeably used. So it's all about actually protecting our assets, protecting our information, protecting our services, our infrastructure. Like Rashed said, pretty much most critical infrastructure within any country now has some sort of digital services, digital footprint. So protecting this digital critical infrastructure is extremely important from different types of attacks. So we have to invest our time and efforts to actually make sure that we actually develop technologies that are secure, that are sustainable, that are, when it comes to performance, that they can actually handle whatever is required within the population where it's deployed. So cybersecurity and information security today is just pretty much about risk management and making sure that we have the right countermeasures to protect our services.
Thank you. So basically, as we said, cybersecurity is a journey to an individual. It's about protecting his own maybe personal account and social media. For banks, it's about protecting customer info, data. For organizations and the public sector, it's about protecting, it's a national safety related topic. So to each one of us, cybersecurity is a journey, and that journey varies depending on the person. So Bassam, if we look at our lives 3 to 5 years ago, and we compare it to how we're living today, we realize the massive change that we're going through, right? We were just talking about robots taking over our lives, and AI and all of that. And unfortunately, some people use technology to serve not only the good, but to serve the bad. So what do you think triggered the shift in the cyber landscape, and where did it all begin?
Yeah, I want to go back more than 5 years actually, when the internet first invented actually in the 90s. But before that, we were almost not connected, and things were very easy. But the more we got connected through the internet, the more we are targeted. So things started, in fact, in the 90s. When the WW or the web, the protocols, the HTTP, the HTML were invented actually, and the internet started to grow. From there, actually, cyber attacks started, and because of this connectivity, I will say, threat actors started to be able to reach and to attack their victims. The other milestone, I will say, is the smartphone in 2007, when the first iPhone was released. The amount of data after this announcement, actually, the iPhone, the amount of data has grown exponentially. And the more data that we exchange through the internet, the more value we have. So usually I look to the internet like a safe. The more valuable things that you put on this safe, the more you are targeted. So if you are starting to put jewelry, if you start to put money, if you start to put e-commerce, e-government, different e-services, the more you will be targeted. So it depends on the value of the things that you are putting on the internet. But as you said, Ruba, nowadays it's a different story with the AI. We are seeing deep fake audio, video, manipulation of audio, manipulation of video. We are seeing more AI crafted phishing messages, which is almost real messages that are targeting users. I believe the more we are digitalized, the more we are using advanced technology, I believe the more we will be targeted, the more will be value in the assets that we have, and this actually will attract cyber criminals. If we go back also, maybe in 2000, I believe it was the year 2000 when the malware, I don't know if maybe some of you will remember the I Love You malware, the I Love You virus. It was in 2000, I believe in 2000 or 2001. Because of the connectivity at that time was not that much actually. The virus didn't spread globally to the level that infected every computer. But in fact, we started to see that cyber attacks are more have more impact on us when we are more connected. 4G, for example, 5G, the fiber now for to home. All these connectivity actually has increased the cyber attacks, increased the attack service, and allowed more attacks to come toward us. So I believe those are maybe the main or the major milestones that triggered cyber attacks 5 years and also maybe for the last 20 years.
So as you said, we're all connected to our phones. We can't let our phones down. And data is very valuable. And this is why I believe laws like the data privacy law comes in as a very, very important topic. And the same with the cyber laws, right? Because this is one way of protecting against malicious criminals or malicious attacks. So going back to you, Amjad, what do you see are the biggest cybersecurity threats that we are currently facing or organizations are facing? And how can they prepare better for them?
I mean, for organizations, as you said, I mean, with this digital transformation leading everything, and everyone is using technology as their means of advancements and enhancements and taking their businesses to the next level, this exposes organizations to major threats. I mean, you can start from just basically social engineering, phishing attempts. You can look at, for example, data prevention, loss prevention. You can look at their exposure to the cloud and where they are in terms of how they are connected into their security. There are as I told you earlier, the supply chain. If you are really connected to a certain service provider, it would, maybe you are as good as that service provider. So if I am able to hack into that service provider, I will be able to connect to all those customers that this service provider has. Same applies for cloud, same applies for SaaS. There are exposures everywhere when it comes to security. There is the DDoS, the denial of service attacks that try to paralyze your business, especially if you are very much dependent on the web to do your own businesses. So, there are different angles. There is the biggest risk, and it's measured like 60% of the threats that any organization have is always internal. So if you have a malicious employee or a careless employee, and then someone will be able to hack into that account, or they will try to do some sabotage, that is very hard for you to trace. So threats on organizations are really, really expanding and evolving because of the natural expansions and evolutions of the technology itself. But I think organizations, they need to look at this matter. They need to do the needed evaluation for their business and hold the stake in the middle. I think too much security is really bad, as very little security. So you need basically to balance things. You need to know where you are in terms of your security maturity journey, and you need to understand your critical digital assets and protect accordingly.
Thank you. So, Rashed, Kaspersky has witnessed and participated in many investigations related to cyber attacks. At least we'll talk about the region. Could you please shed some light on few of these breaches and these attacks? And if you can share one use case, that would be great.
Sure. So in Kaspersky, we have a strategic relationship with and work closely with Interpol, Europol, Afripol, and most of the regulators and law enforcement agencies across the globe. Also, we have proven a track record of uncovering APT threat actors, and long history dealing with supporting governments. For example, the first known cyber weapon called Stuxnet was discovered and analyzed by Kaspersky back in 2011. Before that, the world did not understand that a malware can cause such damage, which is in this case on a nuclear power plant in one country in the Middle East. Another example, the great bank robbery called Carbanak. Carbanak cyber gangs steals $1 billion from 100 financial institutions from 30 different countries. Kaspersky, Interpol, Europol, and authorities from different countries work together in order to uncover criminal operation related to the cyber attack. One more example related to our region, which is Desert Falcon. Kaspersky discovered Desert Falcons, the first APT Arabic-speaking threat actor, operating in the Middle East and targeting mainly governments. And of course, we shared our intelligence with most of the governments in the Middle East. And to end, and maybe something related to most of us, as I believe most of you using iPhone. If you remember last year, end of last year, 3 major updates happened in iOS in 2 months, which is not a normal situation. And that's because we discovered the 3 zero-day exploits on iPhone devices and Apple Watches. So I hope I managed to mention a few of APTs that we have discovered, targeting different sectors, different regions, although we have so many to mention, but we have limited time.
I think you scared everyone off, to be honest. So, Rabi, a question to you, and we're jumping to your next question. As threats evolve and technology advances, the need for innovation becomes very essential. You have reached a significant milestone by developing your own intellectual property in cybersecurity. So what motivated you to achieve this, and could you share your experience?
Sure. So working in cybersecurity for the past 20 plus years, and talking to different customers, different entities in different sectors, we looked at their pains, and we looked at the problems within the organization to have consistent visibility across the organizations in different levels about cybersecurity, whether it is in the operations, whether it is in upper management. At the same time, cybersecurity became important in so many different aspects within the organization. So about 5 years ago, we started looking into building a security rating platform where it actually gives you a complete visibility, or as comprehensive as possible visibility, to help organizations actually secure their services and their assets. So what we did is we tried to find a way to have a consistent visibility for the customers and to actually help them actually implement the highest levels of standards within the organization. And so the need for actually the evolution within technologies today and with AI as well. So now we're looking at how AI is becoming integrated into so many different areas. And now we have agentic AI coming up where actually agents are going to be doing the different roles within organizations. Everybody thought that it's going to be a while before we get to this point, but we already have different companies within the world, within the globe, developing agents that take the roles and responsibilities of, for example, a salesperson or a help desk person. The same thing on the security side. So now we're looking at something called shadow AI. What shadow AI is that you find that your employees are actually using AI in a way that might not be approved by the organization and actually end up leaking data out or introducing new risks and threats to the organization, whether it is legally or maliciously within the organization. So what we're trying to do now is actually integrate this aspect within our platform as well to cope with this change and this adoption, to make sure that we actually detect shadow AI within organizations and bring that into the vision of the security team, the security operation team, the governance, the risk and compliance, to make sure that they have a more comprehensive visibility as well across the different risks within the organization.
Thank you. So when we say cyber attack, who is scared here? Raise your hand. Anyone scared? Yeah. Does it, like, would you stop using your phone? Anyone would stop using their phone if they know they're being attacked? No one. So my question to my panelists is, what is your biggest fear when it comes to cybersecurity? And I will start with Bassam.
It's a big question, actually. So, although I believe we have done a lot of good things here in the country in terms of regulations and in terms of also technology adoption, but still, I believe there are, I'm afraid there are areas that we don't see. I'm still afraid of that phone call in the middle of the night that will wake me up. I'm still afraid of, a larger scale attack that will come to the country. There were several examples where some countries have witnessed larger scale attacks targeting the whole country and resulted in, shutting down maybe, all the services in the country, or at least the governmental services. So those are the type of things actually that I'm afraid of. Are we ready? Are we resilient? Do we have backup plans? Do we have business continuity plans? Do we have disaster recovery plans? Most concerns also, for the critical national infrastructures, electricity, telecommunication, water. Those are critical services. Are they immune? Are they resilient? Do we have, the right tools? Do we have the right policies, the right procedures? Do we have the right people also in place to make sure that we are capable of withstanding any type of attacks or any type of incidents? Not just attacks, maybe some sort of natural disasters. But still, I believe there are a lot of things that we need to take care of. I understand that we have done so many things on the regulations. For example, we have just released the licensing framework. I understand there are some concerns within the business community here in Jordan, but we can talk about one thing, that we will make sure licensing framework will go smoothly, and the goals behind the licensing framework for service providers actually is to make sure that we have a very regulated market, a very regulated services where we guarantee the quality of service from one side and also guarantee that the service providers get rewarded for their good work. As I said, we have done a lot of good things, but I believe there are a lot of areas that we need to improve to make sure we as a nation, we are resilient and we can withstand any type of incidents or any type of attacks.
Thank you. Amjad, what do you think?
Yeah, as I look at it, if you see there are like 3 technology advancements happening in parallel. First, infrastructure. As Bassam mentioned, connectivity was very limited earlier. Now, going to the 5G and maybe then to the 6G, you will see bandwidth is not going to be an issue anymore. So in terms of bandwidth, there is a huge bandwidth is going to be available. If you look at AI and the capabilities, the intelligence that you have now, if you use this maliciously, that's extremely dangerous when it comes to the defense systems we have in cybersecurity these days. And if you add quantum computing to this, where you can do any decryption in no time for any encryption systems that you have. These 3 together, I think, will formulate the perfect storm. And it's going to be very hard for us, really to withstand any attack happening. At the same time, this would really basically create an opportunity for technology to come and cater for this and offer solutions around that. But as the technology is advancing and the infrastructure is maturing and artificial intelligence is becoming more and more advanced, if it is really used in a bad way, that could really put critical infrastructures under question. With the spread of IoT, all these units, your life is going to be very much harmed in a massive scale. And this is really my biggest fear.
Yeah. Actually, it is scary. I always say I'm not willing to drive an autonomous car, personally. Anyone here is willing to try that? Autonomous cars? Rashed, what is your biggest fear?
To me, data sovereignty. I believe my biggest fear in the cybersecurity is about, the sensitive data, especially when it crosses borders in the global cloud system. Having it is really a critical topic when it comes to data sovereignty, because today most of the countries give it the maximum, let's say, priority, because the key question here, who really owns and control this data. Basically, that's the main from my side, which is the data sovereignty.
Thank you. Rabi.
Okay. So the biggest fear when it comes to cybersecurity and digital attacks. So I don't know if you remember 2017. So I'm going to draw you a picture. So 2017, there was a virus called WannaCry that came out and spread so quickly from a vulnerability. And there was the authors who developed the virus didn't have a kill switch. So it actually started spreading across much larger scope or scale than they expected. Now, with the development with AI and having agentic AI, which is actually having an autonomous, goal-driven entity that can actually adapt, evolve, reprogram maybe its objectives, or misinterpret its objectives. And this is something that can be developed by anyone today. So my biggest fear is that at a certain point, a malicious agentic AI will actually start spreading quickly without actually, and beyond the scale of the authors, or because it actually adapted and evolved, it will actually start attacking critical infrastructure. And when we talk about our most, biggest fear is actually affecting human life and attacking critical infrastructure like energy, health, finance, telecom, transportation is most probably my biggest fear. And because we are there, so when we talk about agentic AI, a lot of companies are actually developing today agents that are deployed into your infrastructure that can actually adapt and have a specific goal. So if they're not developed in a very strict way or a very careful way, my biggest fear is that it actually go out of control, and not having some sort of kill switch to stop it will be catastrophic.
I feel I'm watching a movie, right?
And we are, it is
where they're taking over.
It is something that we think it's out of a movie, but we are actually there because a lot of companies are actually developing agentic AI today.
Yeah. So capitalizing on what Rashed said regarding data sovereignty, Amjad, the question goes back to you.
Yeah.
Having said that, and combining that with cloud and cloud services and your experience on that, would you actually recommend migrating to cloud? Are there specific applications that you would and others that you wouldn't, like taking into consideration all these fears regarding where the data resides?
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I mean, our job and where we are in NourNet is basically to engineer the engagement of our customers with the cloud. And as we said, I mean, each and every enterprise has its own kind of uniqueness when it comes to how critical their digital assets is, how important their data is. I mean, for example, there are very sensitive data for governments like the Ministry of Interior or the Ministry of Defense that are very different than an insurance company. So basically, and I think we are like, as a company, as a country, we are consuming nations, so the least we need to be is smart consumers, right? So we need to understand how we relate our data. Of course, cloud, I mean, as we speak now, if you compare the readiness in terms of cybersecurity versus what you have on-prem, for sure, cloud is much better situated. But we need also to look at the frameworks that, I mean, cyber NCA or whatever, I mean, agencies, cyber country-owned government entities, when they build their frameworks around data privacy and data sovereignty, as Rashed mentioned. So you need to distribute your loads for those very critical data that if you lose everything. You need to keep them in maybe a private kind of a cloud. And then for all those that you need, for example, on collaboration tools, you need to use a multi-cloud concept. So you need to mix between a public cloud, private cloud, and a hybrid cloud, and you need to engineer that in a way where they are more of complementing to an overall story, delivering what you are after as a company.
Okay, having said that, Bassam, my question is to you. So this means that we in organizations and public sector has to become more mature when it comes to cybersecurity, to be able to deal with, all the technology advancement, changes, cloud, private cloud, and so forth. So how does that happen? And how does that cross path with capacity building, which is very critical in the maturity of organizations?
Of course, in the public sector, also like the private sector, we are moving to the cloud. We are using different advanced services and technologies. And currently we are working on, a cloud security policy, actually, to make sure that this data sovereignty is taken care of. We want to make sure that we are protecting our civilians and our Jordanians' data and private data, and want to make sure that just the data that is not sensitive, is not secure, can be stored, for example, outside Jordan. We want to make sure that sensitive data, our citizens' data, private data, is stored here in Jordan, this will make sure that we have the capacities actually to do that. We want to make sure that there are service providers here in Jordan who will provide these services for the people and also for the businesses. So in NCSC actually we have developed different frameworks related to services, to products, and also for professionals. So now we are also licensing plus services. We are licensing professionals, and also we are in the process to license products. And this is very important. If you look to Europe, for example, recently they have adopted the CRA, which is the Cybersecurity Resiliency Act. And it is all about product certification, because digital products is very important. We want to make sure that whatever products we use here in Jordan by individuals are trusted and secure, and they provide the level of security that it should be. So again, I mean, within also in the government, we have also all the controls, all the capacities, I believe, that will make sure our electronic services, our e-services are well protected and well taken care of. Capacity building is very important. The human factor is very important. This is why at NCSC we have adopted several initiatives actually focusing on training and also on awareness. We have one initiative actually, we call it WAI. WAI is targeting the governmental employees. So this will start next year, hopefully. We will start to train all the IT departments. We have a cross-government program that will make sure that awareness is taken care of, and every employee has the level of awareness that will, protect himself as an individual, also protect the governmental entity. So I believe there are a lot of things that we are working on. Hopefully, next year will be, I would say, very different from other previous years because of, we started to implement our frameworks. We are started even the National Cybersecurity Framework, which is the national standards. We started the implementation. We will see the impact. Hopefully, we'll see the impact next year.
So our time is up, so one last word. I'd like to hear from Rashed. One last thing you would like to share with the audience regarding cybersecurity, trends, advice?
Yes, actually, as a trend, cyber immunity is Kaspersky's approach to create secure by design products built in our operating system, which is Kaspersky OS. Having a secure by design product will make it nearly impossible to be hacked. Of course, we all know that nothing is unhackable, but here the time, cost, efforts that the attackers need will make it, far from what they will gain from that attack. So, of course, trends like AI are serious, and we have been using AI in our technology for the past, for more than 10 years. We call it actually machine learning, not AI. Actually, we did a study showing most organizations feed attacks powered by AI, although they lack essential protection, for example, like threat intelligence. So we truly see cyber immunity as a trend will redefine the cybersecurity as we know today.
Okay, Rabi, one last word.
Well, to tell you the truth, cybersecurity is going to be a very important aspect of everybody's life moving forward. It is very important that everybody understands the importance of looking into the different risks and threats that might affect anything that you adopt within your organization or within your personal life. Protecting your personal data, protecting your privacy, protecting your family, protecting, when it comes to businesses, protecting your customers and your citizens. In the case of national security is our job. It's the thing that we need to actually pay a lot of attention to. It's very important to actually continuously look at the evolution of threats, the evolution of different types of attacks, and how it can affect our lives. It is not something that it's easily done, but it's something that has to be done to move forward and be able to actually have a sustainable life and services within our nation. So that's
Thank you.
very much it.
Amjad?
Again, I mean, security is a journey. I think the game is getting more difficult. So, I mean, you're going into stages. If you're in a game, I mean, as you advance into stages, I mean, it's getting more critical and much more difficult. The same technology that is basically making people's life much better is the same technology used to basically cause the needed threats and put the whole thing under question. I think we are, as a nation, we are ummatan wasatan. We sit in the middle, so we don't really need to go to that extreme or to that extreme. We need to be very careful when it comes. I mean, I truly believe that privacy is disappearing. You don't have a private life anymore. Everything is exposed. You have to be very careful on how you expose yourself, because it's just the area where cybersecurity is going to hit on you. So you need to minimize your presence in areas where you need to minimize your presence, because this is the best kind of immune action you need to take. And you have to be very careful when it comes in exposing yourself and making sure that you are evolving your maturity as the technology advances, because you'll be left away in no time if you don't do that.
Thank you. Bassam, last word.
As Ruba said at the beginning, it's a bit scary actually. Things will be worse actually in future with the AI, with all the advancements. Just to know one thing, all the advancement in AI, all the large language models that have been trained for the last few years, they were trained on publicly available information. Next phase, those models will be trained on private information, on real information for real people. So there will be no privacy actually. Big companies, big tech companies will be fight for information. They will pay you for information. So it's going to be very, 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 very scary. I want, also one thing to add and mention. We need to think of cybersecurity as a business issue. It's not an IT issue. We still, unfortunately, a lot of high-level people, C-level people, people in senior positions look at cybersecurity, as an IT issue. Believe me, I have seen a lot of companies here in Jordan got attacked, and they were out of business for several days. They lost, all their information. They lost a lot of things, a lot of value. So we want to make sure, we have backup plans. We need to make sure we have business continuity plans. Whenever there is an attack, whenever there is an incident, we want to make sure we have another copy of our information. We need to make sure we are resilient. We are ready for those type of attacks. So we need to look at cybersecurity seriously, and to understand it could be a catastrophe actually. If we got attacked, sometimes companies will lose business. They will be out of business in many cases.
So thank you very much. Thank you to the audience for being part of this session. And it was really, really a really good one. So thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ruba.
Thank you.